Hello, darlings. Do you believe that you were created to impact the world? Do you believe that you can impact the world? Maybe you won't feed the 5,000, but you can do your part. We can all do our part to impact humanity. And on this season of the Wake Up and Show Up podcast, we are weaving together stories and interviews of people that are doing their part. People just like you that are making an impact, that are showing the good in the world. Real people, real stories, making a real impact. Hello, darlings, and welcome to Wake Up and Show Up with Portia Scott, the podcast recap. Hello, hello, hello. I can see people coming in the comments. Let me know where you are watching from. As well, let me know if you can hear me, because before we jumped on, I had some technical difficulties with being able to hear. So let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Thank you guys so very much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad that you guys are here, darling. I have absolutely missed you guys. But one thing I am super excited about is season 6 of the podcast has launched. Season 6. Episode 46. Can you believe it? Val, thank you so much for joining, darling. Ty, thank you so much for joining from DC. Ty is going to be here next week, and I am so excited. Marvin, thank you so much for joining, darling. You guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys know how we do it here. I always say what I'm grateful for, and I want to know, what are you guys grateful for? Because it has been a couple of months since I've been on here. What are you grateful for? I am so grateful that season 6 is launched, and not just season 6, but I believe that this season is really going to impact every single listener, everyone that listens. I hope, my goal is that this season would really inspire and empower all of us to make a difference, to make an impact, whatever that looks like. You know, I always say that you may not be able to feed the 5,000, but you can feed one. And so I'm so grateful for the impact that even the interviews and the stories that I get the opportunity to tell, how they've impacted me. Felicia, thank you so much for joining, darling, all the way from Boston. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you guys in the comments, let me know what you are grateful for. Ty says she is grateful that I'm back. I love you, girl. I love you so very much. You guys, let me know what you're grateful for. Yes, I listened this morning, darling. Grateful for season 6 and safe travels. Absolutely. So you guys, I wanted to do this back a couple seasons. I wanted to come on and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the episode. Felicia says she is grateful for life. Yes, darling. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. One of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to jump back in here and I wanted to talk about the episodes. I wanted to talk with you about the episodes. So I want this to be interactive. Put in the comments. Marvin says, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Marvin, I actually used to live in Fayetteville. So I was stationed at Fort Bragg for about 5 years. Although I was stationed there, I didn't spend a lot of time there because of those 4 years. I think probably about 2.5 years I was deployed. But I do love North Carolina. It has a special place in my heart. So thank you so much for listening, darling, all the way from North Carolina. So if you have listened to the podcast, I want you to let me know. Listen. If you haven't, don't worry. I won't spoil too much for you. But I wanted to have this conversation, have this recap about the podcast. And actually, for those that haven't listened to the show, that you would get an idea of what this podcast episode was about. So one of the things that I mentioned was that I wanted to make sure that this particular season that we were telling stories and interviews of people that are directly impacting humanity. I wanted to hear what it was like, what they did, how they did it. And so I have had the great opportunity And I'm actually posting a link to the podcast in the chat so that you can go there. Not right now, but afterwards, if you haven't listened to the episode. But for the last couple of months, I have had the opportunity to be the North American ambassador for a program, organization in South Africa called Caring for Girls. So this is one thing I wanted to say. When we're making an impact, did you know that you don't always have to be the creator of it? Did you know that you could partner along with what someone else is doing and helping to push that vision? And if it's something close to your heart, then you are empowered. Then you can know that you are making a difference. So I've had the chance to be the North American ambassador and really try to raise funds for this particular organization. So the Caring for Girls organization is an organization that helps to keep girls in school by providing sanitary towels and hygiene education for young ladies. If you heard the podcast today, did you hear the part where Richard said that 1 to 2 out of 5 girls will not have the sanitary protection needs met during their cycles. Therefore, they miss school. Did you hear that he said, and of those 3 other girls, they would have made a plan, and that plan would include using leaves, using sometimes cow dung, using other options in order to stay protected during their menstrual cycle, during their period. And so he actually heard this conversation between his mother and his niece. His niece was having some pains and she was talking to his mother, and it come to find out she was starting her period. And so culturally, I think not just in Africa, but even here, that sometimes we're like, no, let's not talk about it. So he's in there and his mother's like, are you crazy? You can't talk about that around your uncle. No. And out of that one conversation, it led him to start the organization Caring for Girls. It led him to start this movement, this program that he would provide pads for girls so that they would stay in school. So I know Val said, I could not believe it, cow dung. It's funny because we can't even imagine it, but that is what's happening around the world. That's what's happening in so many countries, that young ladies are using other options to protect themselves during their cycles. And so Richard is also telling the story to say that it's not only just having protection, but it's also the education. So they go into these schools. Exactly. They go into these schools and they have these conversations. And so the way they run is they run off of sponsorships. But if you did listen to the podcast, and I know you heard the podcast, did you enjoy it? What was like your favorite part of the episode? What was your favorite part of the episode? Daryl says, awesome. Felicia, she has I think those are party hats. So, I wanted to come on and kind of give a recap and really hear from you about the episode. For me, I think one of my takeaways was one, that what I've learned being a partner is that you don't always have to create it. I think we have this thing around, I want to be the head honcho. I want to be the founder. And sometimes it honestly doesn't have anything to do with why we want to do it. It's just that we want to be in charge and we want to say that we did it. But sometimes it takes us undergirding the somebody else's, right? But it's in line with what we want to make an impact in. And so I think, so when I was doing the episode, we had Richard Mabaso, who is the founder, but we also had Darlene Smith, who is the head of strategy. And she actually came from a huge corporation making good money. And she comes to this nonprofit. And we kind of talk about that a little bit in the episode, is that what would make you leave a great job and to do this? And her response was that she wanted to make sure that she was leaving a legacy. She wanted to make sure that she was leaving something, that her time here mattered. I thought about the conversation. I want you guys to tell me, have you ever been somewhere? I've traveled around the world, and I've had the opportunity to see so many different countries and to see and to meet different people. And I will tell you, I remembered that when I was in Jamaica and we had a driver. And I remember the driver saying that they had to pay money for their children to go to school. And it made me think like how privileged we are here to be able to go to school for free. And they have to, pay for it. And I wanted to do something. Needless to say, I didn't. I'm being honest. But I wondered, how many times have we had a conversation, saw something, felt something, and was like, I really want to help? How many of us have done that? Because I've definitely been there. Richard heard this conversation, and I think I love the podcast, this particular episode, because he heard the conversation and then he did something about it. And I think for me, he didn't even know how to do it. Listen, this is a man that's helping young girls on their periods. He literally knows nothing. So I say that because it doesn't matter what you don't know. I think when you make a decision to make an impact, you'll learn what you need to know. You'll learn what you need to know, how you need to do it. And I believe the right people will come in and you will have what you need, right? He comes up with this crazy, crazy idea. So he mentions it on the podcast. Valerie said yes. Felicia said, if you can help 1 out of 5,000, I think it's great. Yes, Felicia, me too, darling. And so he mentions it on the podcast about, he says, let me, climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm sorry. Out of all the things you could have done, that's what you thought. And so he climbs Mount Kilimanjaro. He comes back and he raises money. And so what he didn't say is Richard is actually a 7-time summiter of Mount Kilimanjaro, 7 times. In the episode, he talks about 100 meters and how on Mount Kilimanjaro, walking 100 meters can take an hour and a half, when pretty much you could run that in 15 minutes, right? Probably if you're going slow, 30. But to think that it takes an hour and a half to go 100 meters, what? So he has climbed 7 times, and you can even find him on Facebook at Richard Mabaso. That's Mabaso. Also, follow Caring for Girls so you can know more about the program and the foundation and all the great things that they're doing. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. Go follow them. Go just see who these people are. I think it's important that we know that they're just people that want to make a difference. That's why I say these are real stories, real people making a real impact. He had this conversation and he decides, you know what? Out of this conversation, I'm going to do something. How many of us right now have heard a conversation, saw something that brought us to tears, something that made us angry, where we were like, no, I'm tired of this. I want to change this. And then how many of us went to go do it, right? I've seen a lot. And when I heard about this organization, I was like, I'm in the US. How can I possibly help them? And then in July, we had that fundraiser and we were able to raise, like, our goal was to raise $1,500 in 30 days. And we did it in about a week and a half. Honestly, a week and a half. So it's so important that you never know when you want to make an impact, where it's going to take you. I had no idea that people would come out of the woodworks and help us raise that $1,500 to make sure that we could keep these girls in school. And so listen to this. This is like crazy. When I did the conversion rate for $21, that supports a girl for an entire year. It supports a girl for an entire year. And so I say that because maybe I didn't have the idea for Caring for Girls, but I'm so excited to partner with them. I want you guys to listen to the podcast. I want you to hear the story. Val listened to it today. And like she said, it talks about what girls are using to have options when they don't have the sanitary protections that they need. Marlene said, how many women work? Sign for that's my opinion. I'm not sure, Marlene, what you were trying to say, darling. But I think it's just incredible the work that he and the whole organization is doing. He said that there was an interview, I think, after he had asked one of the summiters after one of the climbs, and he said, why do you climb Mount Kilimanjaro? Or why did you climb? Why did you go on this trek? Because every year they do this. They trek to Mount Kilimanjaro to raise money. And she said, I climbed the mountain so that young girls would have one less mountain to climb. And I thought that was so powerful, that the reason why she was doing it was so that would be a hurdle that another young woman wouldn't have to get over, right? Because she knew that what she was doing was making an impact, that because she was climbing, she was raising funds. So one young lady would have one less mountain to climb. That's the impact. That's the impact. She decided to climb. That was her impact. We can not only impact the world, but when we say impact humanity one person at a time, sometimes that humanity is the people that live right in the house with us. Sometimes that impact is impacting somebody on our job, impacting somebody at the grocery store, impacting somebody that I know, impacting our community. So you may say, oh my goodness, this is such a big task to take on, or whatever it is that you want to do, where you want to impact. Start with just one person. Start with just one person. Richard, he climbed the mountain for one girl, and now they have been able to support over 1.5 million. 1.5 million girls. And listen to this caveat. When you hear the interview, he'll tell you he didn't go to college. He didn't go to university, as they say, because he didn't have the money to go. But that didn't stop him. And so I say that because he didn't have all the resources. He didn't have all of everything that he needed, but he did it anyway. Daryl said, I listened and it was masterfully edited. So anybody that listens to the Wake Up and Show Up podcast, let's give Daryl a big round of applause, because Daryl is the executive producer of the Wake Up and Show Up podcast. So all the music you hear coming in, the intros and the outros, that is all Daryl. The way that he makes it seem like I did not record it in my closet, that is all Daryl. So let us give Daryl a big round of applause. Thank you, D. Mitch. I could not do it without you. Valerie said, I already donated. I spend that on 2 weeks of coffee. Girl, I know. And so I did want to put it out. You guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much I know I did a lot of talking. You guys did a lot of commenting. Thank you so much. I just wanted to do kind of these recaps of the episode, 1, so that we can talk back and forth about it. And then 2, so that if somebody didn't hear the podcast, that they would know what that episode was about. It is an incredible, listen, I'm not saying it because I'm the host or anything, I'm not tooting my own horn, but toot that the interview is amazing. It is just a great interview. It's a great interview. Richard and Darlene, they were just masterful in giving their time. Daryl does do an incredible job. Val said Daryl does a good job. He's talking about too kind. You know you love it, Daryl. You know you love it. Hello, darling. Hello, Paula. And so I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for showing up on a Thursday. I did not have this plan. I think I sent something out to our community, our texting community, to say, hey, I'm going to go live. And listen, if you are not part of the texting community, you can be. So if you see on the bottom of the screen, I've just put it in the chat. If you click on that community link, if you are not already receiving our text messages, click on that link, because in that link, in those texts, I text inspiration. I let you know when an episode is going live, when we're going to go live. I try to keep you informed on what we're doing here. And the way that we communicate in the community is through this text message. So if you are not getting our text, click on that link, because we have some incredible things that are coming up, but you will get at least once a week, twice, maybe 3 times, you'll get some inspiration and some tools to help you thrive. You'll also know when we go live, and when an episode is live, and just creating the community. You want to know my heart? My heart is that we would create a community of people that are making an impact, So if you don't like the Portia Scott page, I want you to like the Portia Scott page. I want you to head over to YouTube, and I want you to like the Portia Scott Media page. One of the things that I do want to do, I'm so big on building community because I know how important it is. And especially as we are all trying to impact humanity. What does that look like? How do we do this? You know, one way we do this is we do it together. And so the interviews and the stories, they let us know that what we want to do is possible, that we can impact the world one person at a time. So I want you to head over to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify. I also put the link in the comments so you could go straight to the episode right after this and listen to the episode. I'm super excited about this episode. You'll hear more on Instagram and on the Facebook page as to what's going on, sound bites and things like that, because I'm just so very proud of all of the people that gave their time to do an interview. This is also what I want to ask. I have an ask of you. One of the asks is, if you know someone that is directly impacting humanity, if they are a social entrepreneur, if they have a nonprofit, if they are even a volunteer and they are impacting humanity, let me know. Let me know, because we want to interview them. We want to tell their stories. So if you have someone that you know, this is what I want you to do. I want you to either PM me, DM me, or you can go to our website at portiascott.com//podcast. If you go to the podcast, it'll say be our guest. Fill out that form, or you can contact us and let us know about the guests that you have, because we want to make sure that we have a community of people. Next week on Thursday, we drop another episode that's going to be absolutely amazing. So October is Infant and Maternal Death Month. And so while this episode is going out in November, I say that because our guest experienced a loss. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that on Thursday's episode. But if you guys can just celebrate with me and head over to, like I said, Apple, Spotify, or Stitcher, and listen to episode 46 of season 6 and give us some feedback. Let us know how you like the podcast, because on Apple Podcasts, you can always review it. So give us a 5-star rating and then write a review about the podcast. That, my friends, is how we know that we are giving you the content that you are looking for. Paula said, I look forward to hearing the podcast. Congratulations on a new successful season. Thank you so much, Dolly. Can't wait to hear the podcast. You are awesome. Mommy, you are absolutely amazing, Dolly. So I am super excited. Again, if you are not on our community page, I want to make sure that you go and click that link so that you can get the text messages that you are aware when we go live. So you guys, thank you so very much. Congratulations for 6 seasons. Amazing. Thank you so much, Mommy. So you guys, I love you. Thank you so much for joining me. I told you on this Thursday, late notice. So I will see you guys soon. I love you. I love you. And again, if you know anyone that is making a difference, I want to tell their stories. So let us know. Like I said, you can PM me, you can DM me. You can also go to PortiaScott.com and you can let us know who they are. All right, darlings, you know how we end every single show. Waking up is automatic. Showing up is intentional. Today, I will show up. Hello, darlings. Do you believe that you were created to impact the world? Do you believe that you can impact the world? Maybe you won't feed the 5,000, but you can do your part. We can all do our part to impact humanity. And on this season of the Wake Up and Show Up podcast, we are weaving together stories and interviews of people that are doing their part. People just like you that are making an impact, that are showing the good in the world. Real people, real stories, making a real impact.